All right, let's talk about Josh Allen, who had a bit of a bizarre game here. Like, they won, but they didn't really rely on him, with the exception of some key spots. Now, I still thought he played really well in this game, though. Like, even though they didn't fully rely on him, like when he had to make plays, he was able to. So let's talk about, how they got up big in the first place, which was huge, right? I mean, that was kind of the lead they held on to. How they ultimately kind of slowed down in the second half and what went wrong there, but ultimately why they still got the victory. Let's get into all of it. We can start off with this play. It's going to be a zone coverage concept, and what the Bills are doing here is they're essentially trying to take advantage on a 3rd down and 8. I kind of think a big play in this game, we know how the Ravens can get rattled, right? So being able to have a chance to, match their touchdown and kind of, not let them get too comfortable early on, I think is a big deal. So you see it's zone coverage. Really, the route they're going to look towards is that route right there, the over-the-middle route. It's going to be Khalil Shakir, who's one of their best receivers, if not their best receiver out of the slot. And a lot of times what happens here is because there's those 2 down-the-field routes, those can kind of take away the safeties. The safeties can kind of go in that direction, and that over-the-middle route could get open. Watch as, so Josh Allen's going to take the snap right here. He fires a little bit off balance too, but this just gets wide open. The player who's covering over the middle of the field just a little bit slow in reading this, and because of this, you get an open receiver. Not only do the Bills make this play and pick up a first down, they pick up a ton of yards, immediately get into field goal range. They would ultimately score a touchdown, although it wouldn't be quite so simple. They would then have this play, which, Josh Allen on these short yardage situations is so good. And part of why it's just so hard to stop these plays is so they clear out everybody else. You see 5 wide, no halfbacks or tight ends are here because essentially they want less guys to have to make their blocks. You have really only 5 defenders for the Ravens who could come in and make a play because, just think about it logically. Unless you're going to go all out to stop the run and have no safeties deep whatsoever, if you have a safety deep, that means that the Bills have 10 blockers. You only have 10 defenders who can make a play on something like this. And again, if you go no safeties deep, good luck against Josh Allen. So all that has to happen is the 5 offensive linemen for the Bills have to make their blocks. And as you see, that's going to be exactly what happens. They're able to pick up the first down. Then Allen goes down, avoids the big hit. Again, big play. If they don't convert that 4th down, that gives all the momentum to Baltimore. But because of this, the Bills ultimately get into the end zone. So yeah, really good stuff there. Again, a lot of the other offense was honestly not even much of Josh Allen. It was a lot of just like the running game working and then getting some, they got a favorable field position on this drive actually due to the Lamar Jackson fumble and the big fumble return by Von Miller. But you have this situation. It's going to be a zone coverage concept. And again, it's going to be Khalil Shakir that they're looking towards. You see how the concept can work, right? You have a receiver kind of run a deep route, pushing that player covering the middle of the field further deep. You hit Shakir underneath. Again, when this play begins, you see it's just working. And for the Ravens, I have to say, I was a little surprised to see them play so much zone. And I think part of it was the Bills were just doing such a good job running the ball. The Ravens didn't want to have to play man coverage, even though that's what they usually like to do to defend a pass. And this is the value of being a balanced offense, right? Is you get teams out of specific coverages. You can't just try and defend a pass every play like you could, a couple years ago against the Bills. Of course, Allen not going to miss that throw, and you just kind of pick up the easy first down on 2nd and 7. Don't even have to worry about a 3rd down. That's exactly what you want to have happen. So yeah, really good stuff here. But then we saw the Ravens defense, I think, really battle back here. And one of the things they really did was on the plays where the Bills took the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, especially these like screen passes, the Ravens really took advantage. So this one was kind of, I think, one of the key ones. 3rd down and 5 right here. Bills are up 8. They get the first down, they could potentially make it a 2-score game. At least that's what you're looking at. You see, pay no attention to the yellow circle. That was Tony Romo. But you see, I've shown a Ravens player who's blitzing on this one. And that's kind of what the Bills are trying to take advantage of. They see that he's blitzing. And so what are they going to do to counter that? Well, they're going to go with a screen pass, which, in theory makes sense, right? You can see how you have a numbers advantage there. So I'm not going to necessarily, again, it's easy to crush the decision when you take the ball out of Josh Allen's hands on a 3rd down and 5, but at the end of the day, you just hope that you can execute. Here, Josh Allen, he does his job, quickly flips it out, but it's the player I've circled, Kyle Van Noy. This is the issue with these plays, is the Ravens just have a lot of smart defenders, and Kyle Van Noy reads this play so quickly. Watch as, Marlon Humphrey helps slow down the ball carrier as well. Van Noy finishes the job, and now they have to punt the ball back. So, that's, again, that's just, that's smart defense is kind of the main thing I would say. But that's also probably why you don't do this on 3rd down and 5, right? Because, the Ravens have a smart defense. And while this was a 3rd down and 5, they were doing it on other plays too, setting up kind of obvious passing situations as well, which, makes things easier for the defense. Later on, you had this play where they got into field goal range, but again, obvious passing situation, 3rd down and 8 right here after they, the last play we saw, there was kind of some contact on Amari Cooper. That wasn't called. And I think the Ravens kind of just said, you know what? Let's just create contact. They can't call them all. Do the old Legion of Boom strategy, because that's kind of what they're going to do here. Brandon Stevens going up one-on-one against Khalil Shakir. They're sending pressure. So, again, it's smart to send pressure against a quarterback like Allen, because then you kind of have to throw the ball quickly. You can't hold on to it for too long. As you see, Allen is going to, take the snap. And, I thought this was going to get called in part because, the crowd was all over it. The Bills were all over it. A lot of times that factors in, but the refs decided to swallow the whistles. And I'm not even saying it was definitely should have been called either, because it was kind of bang, bang. Like, what, could Shakir have gotten to the ball if it wasn't for the contact? There wasn't a ton, but let's be honest, we've seen way less get called. Even in this game, I thought we saw less get called. But down the stretch, they were swallowing the whistles, and the Ravens defensive backs adjusted. So, you can call it what you want, but that's what I saw happening. So, yeah, those are my thoughts, really, is again, it's kind of a weird way to end the video of the offense got slowed down. The defense was able to make a play, though, and they ultimately win. I do think that going into Kansas City next week, you kind of feel like they gotta trust Josh Allen a little bit more in some of these spots, right? The other factor is I think the receivers have to get open a little more, and maybe part of it is the refs might throw more flags in that game. I'm sure there's a group of people that will say the refs will certainly throw more flags on one team in that game. Hey, I'm not going to go there, just saying. But as a whole, again, really gutsy win. Hey, you get the victory. And one thing that you have to bring up as well is the 4 teams that won this postseason, or this week, didn't turn the ball over. And there's, listen, how many times did we see Tom Brady maybe not light up the box score, but you look at it and there's no turnovers on one side? That's always a big part of it, is not turning the ball over. Technically, there were 5 teams that didn't turn the ball over. The Texans also didn't, but you get the idea. The 4 winners didn't turn the ball over. That was the difference in this game, so got to give the Bills a lot of credit. At least that's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from ya. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.